In the last segment, we talked about the Washington Post article that's dated March 2nd, and it discusses hacked emails that showed that Hillary Clinton was using a domain registered the day of her Senate hearings, that private domain. She was communicating with Sidney Blumenthal. His email was hacked, and at the time, he was communicating with Hillary on her private email, which is how we found out through the hacking that Hillary had that private domain. Anyway, earlier this week, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu gave an impassioned speech to Congress about the dangers of a nuclear deal with Iran. Many praised his strong stance against a proposed deal, and others said he offered no realistic alternatives. What isn't in the question is the strained relationship between the U.S. and our strongest ally in the Middle East. With me now is retired Navy SEAL Commander and Republican Congressman Ryan Zinke. All right, good evening, Congressman. You were at Bibi's speech. What was your reaction?
You know, I think he was kind where he didn't have to be. He was certainly complimentary about the Obama administration's support in areas. I think he was firm where he had to be. I think he laid out a very concise and realistic plan and what it means for having Iran with a nuclear weapon. And then his parting message was, although they would like to be with the U.S., as they're prepared to go alone if they have to in the protection of Israel. So I think it was a brilliant speech. I think Congress did the right thing as an equal part of the government, having the Prime Minister speak before Congress, and his message resonated.
Okay, and when you say that Congress did the right thing, I mean, there's no, it's no secret that there were many in the Democratic, on the Democratic side of the aisle who made a decision to not attend the Netanyahu address. And, you know, to me, it kind of reeks of people putting this petty politics where our one ally in the Middle East, our one strong ally, who pays all kinds of homage to the United States and Barack Obama in his speech, and yet they are almost acceding to this kind of petty bickering where we're not going to show up to hear our ally because, you know, Barack Obama's mad at him and says he's chicken crap and that they'll be, you know, held to pay of some sort. What do you think of them?
Well, you know, it was a slap in the face, you know, obviously Israel, but I can tell you from the audience, not only in the gallery itself and the floor, but to the American people, I thought the Prime Minister did an outstanding job of articulating the threat, of painting the threat in a realistic term of what it means to have a nuclear-armed Iran, what it means to have a bad deal. And I think Congress is going to act. Congress should act as an equal part of the government.
What can they do, Congressman?
Well, I think we're going to see that there's no deal unless it goes through Congress. You know, what we're talking about is almost a nuclear arms treaty, and it should go through Congress. Congress has that authority. I think the votes are there to override a veto if necessary. But we shouldn't be doing this in secrecy. I mean, this is a very real threat. And you remember...
I'm coming up against a break. I just want to ask one quick question. Nancy Pelosi said she was moved to tears by the speech because it was such an insult to American intelligence. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I was moved to tears because I thought it was an inspirational speech. I guess there lies a difference between Nancy Pelosi and our caucus in the support of Israel.
All right. Congressman Zinke, well said. Thanks for being with us this evening.
Thank you. And thanks, Judge.
All right. And